In my last video, I argued that the reason this patch was extremely mid wasn't all the plot holes or the storytelling decisions I disagreed with. It was that the game failed to make me feel the same way The Walking Dead did at the end of it, or feel anything, really. I thought the game was soulless and hollow, and I said that was why I didn't like the game. I feel in retrospect that I could have made my point clearer, but I stand by what I said. To further support the claim I made in that video, I present to you Alto's Adventure. This simple snowboarding game was developed by an independent two-man studio called Snowman. The idea is extremely simple. You play as Alto, a questionably aged llama farmer who inevitably forgets to tie said llamas and they run away, which, you know, Alto is canonically 10 years old. Why would you give a 10-year-old all your llamas? This feels like it was bound to happen. Anyway, you get on the old snowboard and chase them down. How dare these llamas dream of freedom when you have slave labor for them to do? The gameplay is incredibly simple. Alto goes downhill on a snowboard. There's only one button you can press to make him jump, and you can hold down that button to make Alto rotate and even do flips. Flipping increases speed, making the game more fun, and you can do multiple flips, but if you don't land with the board facing downwards, Alto will break many of his still developing bones, and you will fail the level. This, while some fun because the whole imagining a 10-year-old in the ICU because you just had to land that 720 is pretty fun. But it isn't what makes this game. What makes this game is the atmosphere. We were never crazy about those full 3D snowboarding games on the App Store, and it seemed like neither was anyone else. They never seemed to dominate the charts, whereas a simple game like Tiny Wings felt much more at home on a mobile device. We knew we wanted to focus more on the emotion of snowboarding rather than the super technical side of it. Ryan Cash from RyanCash.net. They wanted to capture an emotion in a video game, which, as we all know, is a hard thing to do. Now, you could go snowboarding and experience it for yourself, obviously, but to experience the same thing or even a similar thing, holding down a button in a 2D video game is very hard. Besides, maybe you can't even go snowboarding because you're not a self-made millionaire yet because your parents didn't give you that small loan of $3 million when you were 10. I'm still mad about that, Dad. Maybe all you can do is play Alto's Adventure to get a taste of snowboarding. According to Ryan Cash from RyanCash.net, one of the main reasons they wanted to do it is because he broke his shoulder once and it kept dislocating, so he couldn't really go snowboarding as often as he'd like to. I mean, don't get me wrong, he still went snowboarding. Addictions are hard to break, but addictions are also addicting. Ryan Cash from RyanCash.net was fiending for his fix, and when he couldn't get it as often as he'd like, he decided to make a digital replacement. Now, just to be clear, it was a good thing that he made Alto's Adventure. I just think I'm funny YouTube man and I like to make jokes sometimes. Ryan, in the extremely rare event that you're watching this, I really like your game. About 8 years ago, I dislocated my left shoulder for the first time, heavily hindering my ability to do things like snowboard and skateboard. Since then, I've popped it about 10 times, more recently the right shoulder as well. The last time I dislocated was while cliff jumping off a remote fishing lodge in northern Ontario. This was, by far, the worst dislocation I've ever experienced. All in all, my shoulder was out for about 5 hours. You can see in the x-ray what it looked like when it was out and how it's supposed to be. Ryan Cash from RyanCash.net. Now, I'm no expert, but that arm does not look like what you'd call right. Could be wrong though. Now, I like Alto's Adventure. It's a pretty good game, but the Alto series or the Alto collection, if you're a smart businessman like me and got it for free on the Fortnite store, is actually made up of 2 games. The original Alto's Adventure was the Alto team's first ever game, and like I said, despite my attempts at being the funny YouTube man, the game was actually really good. But it was their first game. They had come up with something everyone liked, but it wasn't until Alto's Odyssey, their second game, that they really perfected that formula. Alto's Odyssey is everything Alto's Adventure was, but better. It's smoother, more beautiful, with better music, a better snowboarding game set in the desert than the one set in the snow. The shifting desert background, the sound of your snowboard on the sand, and the score all come together to deliver a truly relaxing and beautiful experience. The only downside is that they might make you feel like you're from Saudi Arabia, and you might feel the uncontrollable urge to send an immense amount of money to genocidal nations/groups, in which case there are no refunds. Besides the atmosphere, which is the main offering of the game is, of course, gamey. There's achievements to unlock, objectives to complete, and new gear to unlock so you can snowboard better. But get ready for this, because this is a massive surprise in the year of the Prophet 2025. None of that stuff is paywalled. We wanted to build a casual, endless runner style game that didn't have any of the usual junk in it. No ads, no in-app purchases, no way to cheat. We wanted to go back to that old school gaming feeling where you can only get the highest score if you're the best. Not by spending money, but by grinding or by complete luck. I grew up playing GoldenEye and I was pretty good, but pretty good wasn't good enough to unlock some of the cheats. We had a friend named Bruno who people would invite over just to beat certain cheats for them. This is the old school difficulty I'm talking about. Bruno was the best, and not because he played the longest or spent the most money, but because he was the best. A mobile game developer developing their first game understands video games better than Ubisoft does, once again proving that corporatization does ruin everything. That's all well and good, you say, but how the fuck is this mobile game better than the multi-million-dollar story with mouth-watering animation? I do mean that. The animation in Dispatch is terrific. I know I'm critical of it, but that doesn't mean I don't like any of it. I think the animation really is fantastic. It's really good. It's part of the reason why it felt more like a playable TV show than a video game, honestly. Alto's Odyssey is a better video game than Dispatch for two main reasons. Number one is that it accomplishes what it sets out to accomplish better than Dispatch does. Alto's Odyssey wants to be a fun, relaxing experience that wants to make you feel like a snowboarder in an endless downhill desert, and it absolutely nails that. Dispatch wants to be a complex superhero story with an overarching plot and well-written, emotionally grounded characters, and it fails at both. Reason number two for why Alto's Odyssey is better is that it's just a lot more fun. Dispatch is around 10 hours long. I genuinely believe that you have more fun playing Alto's Odyssey for 10 hours straight than you would Dispatch. The only thing I have against Alto's Odyssey is that it has no end. Obviously, it's an endless runner, and I really hate endless games because they can sort of take over your life. I mean, Alto's Odyssey won't, it's just not that sort of game, but some endless games can really be destructive to the rest of your life. Remember, kids, games are meant to be experiences that add value to your life. When they start taking value away from your life is when you need to put the game down, go outside, smell the flowers, look at the birds flying, even touch grass if you're feeling brave. Alright, goodbye.